Rain poured mercilessly over the crowded streets, turning puddles into small rivers that reflected the dull glow of city lights. The evening rush was loud, chaotic, people running for cover, umbrellas clashing, car horns blaring. Yet, in the middle of that storm, one image froze time itself, a young woman sitting on a broken bench near the corner of a bus stop, clutching a shivering baby close to her chest. Her clothes were soaked, her face pale, but her eyes, those eyes, still held something fierce. Not fear, not despair, but hope. That's when he saw her. Alexander Reed, the man everyone in the city called the Ice King. CEO of Reed Enterprises, known for his ruthlessness, precision, and a heart so cold people swore he didn't have one. He was the kind of man who made decisions that broke others, cutthroat in business, indifferent in emotion. Tonight, he was merely passing through after a late meeting, annoyed that his driver had taken a longer route due to flooding. But fate had other plans. The car slowed at a red light. His gaze wandered, almost out of habit, and landed on that fragile figure under the rain. A woman shielding her baby with her coat, lips trembling, whispering something softly to calm the child. He frowned, irritated that he even noticed. But something about the way she looked, exhausted, desperate, yet still fighting, stirred a feeling he hadn't known in years. He couldn't look away. "Sir, shall we drive?" his driver asked. Alexander didn't respond. His jaw tightened. Against every instinct, he said quietly, "Stop the car." He stepped out, the cold rain instantly soaking his tailored suit. The woman startled, clutching her baby tighter as he approached. "Are you all right?" His voice came out rougher than intended. She blinked up at him, confusion flickering in her weary eyes. "We're fine," she whispered. Just waiting for the rain to stop. But he could see the truth, the trembling lips, the way her baby was wrapped in a thin towel, the empty bag beside her. She wasn't waiting for the rain. She was waiting for something that might never come. He hesitated, torn between logic and the unfamiliar tug in his chest. "You'll get sick. There's a cafe across the street. Come inside." She hesitated, glancing down at her child. I can't afford." "I didn't ask you to pay," he interrupted. Something in his tone left no room for refusal. She nodded quietly, and together they crossed the street. Inside, warmth embraced them, the scent of coffee, the soft hum of music. The woman's shoulders sagged in relief as she sank into a chair. He ordered food before she could protest. The baby cried softly, and she rocked him gently, whispering words that broke him in ways he couldn't understand. "What's his name?" he asked, trying to sound casual. "Ethan," she said softly. "He's 9 months old." He nodded. "And you? What's your name?" "Lena." A pause. He studied her face, young, maybe mid-20s, yet aged by exhaustion. "You don't have anywhere to go, do you?" Her eyes flickered, then dropped to the table. "No. Not anymore." Silence stretched between them, heavy and fragile. Finally, she spoke again, voice breaking. "I used to have everything, a small home, a husband, a job. But one accident took it all. My husband died. The hospital bills took the rest. I've been looking for work, but," she smiled weakly, tears mixing with rain on her cheeks. "Who wants to hire a mother with a baby?" Something deep within Alexander twisted. He didn't know why he cared, but he did. Maybe because once, long ago, he'd known loss too, though he'd buried it beneath layers of ice. "Finish your food," he said quietly. "I'll help you." She looked up sharply. "Why?" He didn't answer. Maybe because he didn't know. Maybe because it was the first time in years he'd felt like doing something that wasn't about gain or power. That night, he arranged a place for her in one of his company's apartments. She resisted at first, but exhaustion won. As she thanked him, holding her baby close, he simply nodded and walked away. But for the rest of the night, her face, her quiet strength, stayed in his mind. Days turned into weeks. Alexander didn't expect to see her again, but somehow he did. Every morning, she stood outside his building, asking for small jobs. She refused to live off charity. "I can clean, file, anything," she said one morning. "Just give me a chance." Against every rule he lived by, he did. He gave her a job in the office pantry, small, insignificant, but honest work. The staff whispered about it, about the CEO's sudden interest, But he ignored them. Over time, he noticed the way she smiled despite the hard days, the way she treated everyone kindly, even the ones who looked down on her. Ethan grew healthier, his laughter echoing through the corridors whenever she brought him by after work. Alexander found himself watching from his office window, a strange warmth replacing the chill that had lived in him for years. One evening, he found her outside again, the sky painted in hues of sunset. She was fixing a stroller wheel, her hands trembling from cold. He crouched beside her, surprising her once more. "You should have told someone," he said quietly. "I don't like bothering people," she replied, smiling faintly. "You're not a bother," he said before he could stop himself. Their eyes met, and something shifted. Slowly, the walls around his heart began to crumble. He started to notice things, how she always encouraged others, how she worked tirelessly, how her laughter brought life even into his coldest days. But fate wasn't done testing them. One afternoon, rumors spread through the company, whispers that she'd only stayed close to him for personal gain. The story spiraled fast, and she was too ashamed to face it. She packed her few things, left a short note of gratitude, and disappeared. When Alexander found out, something broke in him. For the first time, he felt helpless, not as a CEO, but as a man who'd lost something precious. He searched the city for days until one stormy night, he saw a familiar figure by the same old bus stop, sitting, holding her child, under the same rain. He approached her slowly, heart pounding. "Why did you leave?" Tears glistened in her eyes. "Because people like me don't belong in your world." He shook his head, rain mixing with his tears. "Then I'll come to yours." She gasped softly as he knelt before her, voice trembling. "You and Ethan, you gave me back something I'd lost years ago. I used to believe the world was only about power, but you taught me it's about people. Please, don't run from the one person who finally wants to stay." Lena broke into tears, not of sadness, but of release. That night, the storm didn't feel so cold. Months later, the same bus stop stood silent again, but this time, it wasn't a story of loss. A new bench stood there, engraved with small words, "For those who never stop hoping."